We're out of the video game talk. It was a good talk, but let's move on. Now, our next subject is a big subject among all type of video nerds and movie goers and movie lovers. Is the Batman back? Ooh. And I see somebody over there questioning if he ever left.
Yeah, he did. He was gone for the whole time.
And I will say I rewatched it last night, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But let's just talk about the new one first. That freaking trailer, from 3 seconds into that trailer, I was like, yep, I'm back. I'm ready for this. I want to see what this is all about. And even the fact that I hated on Patterson for a long time because he destroyed vampires for me. But I've gotten past that. He didn't destroy vampires for me. He acted in a movie that destroyed vampires for me. So let's move on. Let's hear some other people's opinions. Ron, what do you got to say about that?
Honestly, man, the trailer looked amazing. So I'm like you, dude. I'm like, here's the guy from Twilight. He's Batman. I was one of the biggest haters, and I saw the trailer, and I honestly watched that trailer 100 times. Like, I'm ready for it. This is gonna save the DCU. We're actually gonna have the fight that the nerds deserve. The MCU versus DCU, what we always wanted, what we've been waiting for. The Batman is going to save DCU. I'm on board. That's the movie of 2021 that I want to see the most, man. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Right, Will. Right.
I agree 100%. The Batman is going to put the DCU back on the map. But I don't want to get off topic here, but we also got to focus on Flashpoint. Flashpoint is going to be a groundbreaking movie because it's going to introduce the multiverse into the DC universe.
No, that's coming after the Batman? Like, how's it?
Yes.
Break it down for me. So the Batman will come out first,
but it's
what's
going to
after the
kind of
Batman?
connect them, right?
Yes, it's going to explain all the multiverses and what we can expect in the future. The Flashpoint is going to be huge, but the Batman itself as a standalone movie is definitely going to bring the DC back and pull a rivalry back between the MCU and DC that we all really want.
Can I ask you a quick question about this?
Yeah.
So what's great about Marvel is, like, I could bring my girl to see Marvel. Sorry, ladies, I'm taking. I have to say that because she's watching. So it's going to bring them back, right? But I can take my girl to Marvel or my daughters, and like they could jump into any movie. They're all about it. Yeah. DC, we talked about this earlier. You really can't do that. You got to know what's going on. So will Flashpoint, if I don't follow it, will I be able to know what's going on? You think, or?
I think the key with Flashpoint is maybe to read the comic book. You won't be as lost, but I think the way that Muschietti is going to tell the story, I think you could be a guy or a girl coming in for the first time and be able to follow what's going on. I think Muschietti is an excellent storyteller. So I think what he's going to put together for Flashpoint will be amazing.
I agree, but we also have to go to Muschietti's It and think about how he did part 2. You really had to read the book to appreciate that movie. That is the one thing I'm nervous about. Ron, you brought up a good question, because that's one thing I'm nervous about, because Flashpoint is a huge arc. Yeah. I mean, if you're talking in the DC universe, Flashpoint really does bring everything together and explain a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff happens. And we haven't even really been introduced to Flash that much, minus the Justice League, which we are getting an extended cut of, so that might change. But back to the Batman real quick. I was never a Robert Pattinson hater. I mean, I was when I was like 14 when it first happened. You know it that I'm talking about. But
the movie that shall not be named.
Yeah, the movie that shall not be named. I watched an interview with him when I was like 17, and he was like, "Man, I don't want to say a curse word. Screw these movies. They suck. I hate them. I did this for a paycheck. I'm so pissed they got big." And that's when I was like, all right, I'll give this guy a second chance. After seeing that trailer, I mean, first of all, the sound right at the beginning with the Warner Brothers, the tape, I was I was sweating, man. I was getting excited. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And seeing at the very end where he's just like, punching.
Oh yeah,
dude.
brutally just pounding on
And
that
his
dude.
eyes are blacked out. I'm like, I gotta give. I have faith that is gonna bring the youth back into the Batman role, because unlike Will, I think that starting off the DCU with the Snyder Batman versus Superman was the wrong move, because they were so old. And you can't build a universe from an old man. The old man Batman storyline was great, and I love it. I would love it in Phase 7 where it belongs.
Yeah.
And
I didn't like. That's what I was saying earlier when I
agree.
was talking about it to him earlier. We were talking. I was like, I didn't like how they in Batman vs Superman, how they just threw the like the death of the death in the family storyline in like a 5-second walk by.
Not even 5 seconds.
You know what I mean? It's like
one of the biggest arcs.
it's like that's like one of the biggest moments of Batman. I mean, for me, growing up in the in the '90s when it came out, it was like such a thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so we just get to see Robin's suit. Like, you killed him off before we even saw him. Like, that's crazy.
Which was, I mean, in all honesty, though, it was pretty deafening looking at that suit. I still did feel the emotions, but I also,
yeah, but
like
that,
you,
on the
I
what we
know,
were touching on earlier, like if you were the fan that was more casual, you had no idea what that meant. Like, that meant nothing to you, which was
I agree.
kind of weird about that.
I saw my daughter. She's like, "Well, why are they on that, Dad?" And I'm like, "Shut up! I'm trying to watch a movie." And I try to explain to her, but she doesn't understand it. They did a horrible job of explaining that, man. But you're right, Dan.
And-
like, to us, we get it, but to casuals, what the hell is that? Why is that suit in there and there's ha on it? Like, what does that mean? So I get what you're saying, man. But
the Justice League started after that, which doesn't really make sense, because the Justice League was like at Batman's like at least middle age, maybe. Like, I mean, I feel like it was just like it was mistimed. So I think that, to Will's point, Flashpoint will be able to be like, oh, we kind of did a mistake here.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
and then we'll be on the right path. And then I would love to see Affleck come back actually in Phase 7 as Old Man Batman. Maybe see a better version of what we saw in Expansion.
Yeah, after my
later.
rewatch, I didn't mind him as much as I did, watching him. But to be honest, I went into it hating on it, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, the second I saw Ben Affleck was Batman, I was like, seriously,
That's hard
he
to
wasn't
swallow.
that bad though, man.
and no, on the second watch, like, I loved him as Bruce Wayne. He was a great Bruce Wayne, and arguably, I'm not gonna say the argument, but he was really good Bruce Wayne.
He was surprised.
I didn't really like him as Batman, but I also think a lot of that with me was I didn't like the Batman suit. Like, period.
Well, here's the dynamic. Here's the dynamic with Ben Affleck as Batman, and me and Dan have had this conversation before. If this was just Bruce Wayne, he does not make a great Bruce Wayne. He makes a great old man Wayne. So the older,
that's what I'm thinking.
Batman Beyond.
I liked him.
Wayne.
yeah.
Right.
Really good. I would love to see that.
I prefer Keaton though for Batman Beyond, right?
No, I really think that Ben Affleck. I love Keaton. Don't get me wrong. I really think that Affleck really
nostalgic.
he
On to there too.
he holds such a grumpy old man. Like, I mean, even I hate to.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up his real life stuff, but in his real life, he is like kind of like a
Batman licks strippers and the
yeah. Well,
That's what Batman does?
We're gonna have to cut that
Can't
out.
say
But,
that. Come on, that's another beep, man. That's like a 3-second beep right there.
Oh wow, sorry.
But it'll be funny.
in his real life, he's gone through a lot of struggles recently in the past like 5-10 years.
I feel you.
And I've had similar struggles. I mean, I'm not as old as him, don't have kids and wife, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, but I'm saying, like, internally, you could feel the it's like he's been through something.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he brought to the table. And I agree that an old man Bruce Wayne as him, like I said, I would love to see him towards the end being that guy. But
Yeah.
That's my biggest gripe with DC is, like, I'm a hardcore Marvel guy, so, like, I'm always going to be a little bit biased. But I want DC to be good because I think that will Marvel more. So, like, my biggest gripe is the continuity. Like, that's what I love. I love continuity in movies. And, like, what Marvel did with those movies, to me, is just phenomenal.
that's what made me a Marvel fan. I actually didn't watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe until I was with my ex. And he was like, oh, we should probably watch these in order. And I was like, Wow. I'm gay, but I'm not that gay.
Damn. Really?
I was like, I was skeptical, and of course, the first one is Iron Man, and the second one is the Incredible Hulk from like 2008, and it was
that one. That definitely makes it a little tougher if you're just jumping right in.
But if you love the Hulk, though, isn't that bad? You love the Hulk? Then I grew up on the Hulk with Bill Maher.
Ed Norton's one of my favorite actors.
Same, but that movie was horrible.
It was bad. Yeah, he was a bad Hulk.
Mark Ruffalo was a great choice. And I think this might be a good segue into the next topic, am I not?